We have a business where we help people reduce their taxes by leaving the West and moving to the UAE. And actually, one of the most common client types we get are Dutch people. Now, I've never lived in the Netherlands, so I don't know exactly what is going on there. But what we see is that there's a lot of Dutch people that are leaving the country, most likely for a lot of the same reasons that people are generally leaving Europe and the West in general. And so if you're one of these Dutch people who are perhaps considering leaving the Netherlands, but you haven't left yet, then you might want to act pretty quickly, because according to recent news, the Dutch parliament has officially instructed the government to work on a new exit tax on Dutch citizens leaving the country. Now, the Netherlands actually already has an exit tax, but this new exit tax is essentially planning to make this a whole lot worse, which means that if you're looking to leave the Netherlands and you've sort of been on the fence and you haven't quite done it yet, you might want to do it quickly before these new rules come to effect. So in this brief video, I'm first of all going to tell you how does the current Dutch exit tax work, how you're gonna deal with everything like this, and then I'm gonna tell you how this new proposed exit tax is supposed to work and how it's gonna make things much worse, and it's gonna make it much more difficult for Dutch people to leave. And third of all, I'm gonna tell you what you should do if you're a wealthy, successful person in the Netherlands, where you can go, like how you can legally reduce your taxes, everything like this. So here's how the current exit tax in the Netherlands works. So it's kind of complicated, but essentially what they have in place right now is essentially an unrealized capital gain tax that you have to pay when you own shares of a company if you're exiting the Netherlands. So essentially, if you're becoming a non-tax resident of the Netherlands. We can see right here, for example, on this article, exit tax is a tax imposed when a resident of one country moves his tax residence abroad. This means that the tax authorities of the country of departure can levy tax on latent profits from assets such as shares and real estate as if they were sold at the time of departure. So essentially, this is very similar to countries like Canada, for example, that have a similar exit tax, where basically what it means is that if you have a company, when you are exiting the Netherlands tax system, you need to get your company valued. So they're gonna assess what is the market value of that company. So essentially, if you were to sell the company right now, how much could you theoretically get for it? And then based on that, you have to pay capital gains tax, which I believe the rate is around like 25% or something like that. I don't know exactly. Again, you can reach out to us for more direct decisions, but that is essentially how it works right now. And this is already pretty terrible, because what people don't realize is that when you're taxing unrealized gains like this, what it means is that you could have a company that is theoretically valued at $1 million, for example, or €1 million, based on like some valuation methods and something like that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you have $1 million on your bank account. In fact, often if you have a high growth business or something like that, you're reinvesting all the cash that you make anyway. And the valuation of the company is always some kind of multiple on the revenue or the profit or the EBITDA that your company makes, which doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the cash flow that you actually make right now. It's pretty bad already. But now let's talk about the new exit tax, like what they're planning to do to make things even worse for Dutch entrepreneurs. So the new exit tax, again, we can see right here, is based on the German system, where immigrants may still owe tax for up to 5 years after departure on international income and capital gains. So this would mean that the Netherlands could still keep taxing you for up to 5 years after you leave the country. So even though you're no longer benefiting from the system, you're not using the healthcare, you're not able to send your kids to the public schools or things like this, you would still have to keep paying taxes to the Netherlands for up to 5 years after you leave. Now, this is still just a proposal, but it has like officially passed the parliament, and the parliament has officially instructed the government to like work on details and things like this. The details may end up being exactly like it's just described, or they may end up being something completely different, but we don't know yet. But this follows a very similar trend in a lot of countries around the world, especially in European economies are basically crumbling. This entire system that they have, where the top 1% are essentially supposed to pay for like 30% of all tax revenues like they do in a lot of countries. This system works for only so long as you're able to convince these top 1% people, these top 1% of productive people, that it's worth it for them to keep paying these crazy taxes. As soon as it's no longer worth it for them to pay the taxes, these people are going to start leaving, which is exactly why we see these trends right now. So if you're one of these people, if you're a Dutch person and you're looking to leave, I recommend you do it now because it's less likely that this is going to apply to you retroactively if you've already left in the moment when it comes to place. So if you're looking to leave, where can you go and what should you do? Well, obviously, what I mostly talk about on this channel is the UAE. The UAE is the country that is right now attracting the most millionaires out of any country in the world. So if you want to make money, it's a pretty smart choice usually to just follow the money, see where other entrepreneurs are going, because it's really not just about saving on taxes. Like, I will be the first to say, like, if I had to pay tax, but I was genuinely getting something for those taxes where it was worth it for me to pay those taxes, I'm not like theoretically against taxes. The issue in the West is that it's just not that worthy when you can get more for less in countries like the UAE, where not only do you save on the tax, but you're most likely gonna make more money simply by being surrounded by other successful people, and you're simply gonna get a much higher quality of life. The UAE is one of the safest countries in the world. You don't have any woke politics that are like indoctrinating your kids at school or something like that. It's a wonderful country to live. That is the main option that I recommend for most people. Again, if you're interested, we can help you go through this process. We can help you navigate, first of all, exiting the Netherlands and getting set up in the UAE, and to do this completely legally. Because the one thing about all of these things where you're dealing with taxes and countries and residencies is that you want to always do everything absolutely correctly. If you make even one mistake because you didn't know that there was this form that you have to fill or something like that, you could end up in a lot of trouble and end up being accused of tax evasion or something like that. So you absolutely want to make sure you do everything correctly. So you want to make sure that you work with someone that has helped other people do the same exact process that you're looking to do. So that is why I highly recommend you use services like ours. And again, you can get a free consultation. You can speak to us. You can ask any questions you have if you're interested. There's many other options. Singapore is super popular. Now in Singapore, you have to pay a bit of taxes, but you actually get a lot of value for them, and the taxes are quite reasonable. There's going to be a link down below as well to my recommended agent if you're looking to set up a Singapore company. And obviously, there's many options. Like, you could also become a digital nomad where you exit the Netherlands, but you just nomad around like Bali, Thailand, a lot of these countries that I also personally really like. You can get residencies there, you can get visas there. So don't think that the UAE is like the only option, even though that is the one that I mainly talk about here. But whatever you do, if you want to get the most value, if you want to keep making money, like you don't want to have all your money be taken by some government that's going to waste it anyway, I highly recommend you leave, and I highly recommend that you do it quickly before these exit taxes trap you forever in the system. So if you're interested in more details about specifically the UAE, what is the actual process of going to the UAE, getting a visa there, what is life like there and things like this, then I highly recommend you watch this video right here where I go through all of this in details. So watch that video next, and I will see you in the next one.